Welcome to Scary Stories, the channel that brings you the most bone-chilling tales of horror from around the world. In this video, we bring you a story of a young blogger named Cecilia, whose life takes a terrifying turn when she decides to visit an old friend's country house. What starts as harmless fun and relaxation quickly turns into a nightmare when Cecilia realizes that her friend is not the person she once knew. As the night progresses, Cecilia finds herself in a fight for survival as she tries to escape from her friend's deadly grasp. So, if you're ready to be on the edge of your seat with fear, then grab your popcorn and settle in for this spine-tingling tale. But be warned, the story you're about to hear is not for the faint of heart. Cecilia's video blog gained the necessary audience, making her successful and rich. But the young dreamer never emphasized this. She just enjoyed every day, rejoicing at the usual sunrise. One day, a girl meets an old school friend. They were friends for many years, but as they grew older, they parted ways. The meeting turned into a real volcano of joy and sincere emotions. In order to remember the colorful events of the past and their common moments, a friend invites Sissy to her country house, where a grand party was planned. Harmless fun and relaxation began to turn into something opposite, with a real threat to life. As the night progressed and the party guests began to leave, Cecilia started to feel uneasy. She couldn't put her finger on what was wrong, but something just didn't feel right. Her friend, who had been so kind and welcoming, seemed to have changed. She was no longer the sweet girl Cecilia remembered from their childhood. As the last of the guests left, Cecilia tried to make an excuse to leave as well, but her friend insisted she stay the night. Reluctantly, Cecilia agreed and settled into the guest room. But as she lay in bed, she heard strange noises coming from outside the room. Trying to ignore the sounds, Cecilia drifted off to sleep. But she was abruptly woken up by a loud thud coming from the hallway. She sat up in bed and listened intently, her heart racing with fear. Suddenly, the door to her room slowly creaked open. Cecilia's eyes widened in terror as she saw her friend standing in the doorway, holding a large knife in her hand. Her friend's eyes were dark and filled with malice as she advanced towards Cecilia, slowly but surely. Cecilia tried to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. She knew that she was in real danger and had to act fast. As her friend raised the knife, Cecilia kicked out with all her might, knocking the knife out of her friend's hand. In the scuffle that ensued, Cecilia managed to escape the room and run outside. But her friend wasn't far behind her, chasing her through the dark woods that surrounded the house. As Cecilia stumbled through the underbrush, her friend's crazed laughter echoed through the trees. Cecilia knew that she had to find a way to get help or she would never make it out alive. But as she stumbled through the woods, she realized with a sinking feeling that she was hopelessly lost. The night was dark and the woods seemed to stretch out endlessly before her. As she desperately searched for a way out, Cecilia could feel her friend's presence closing in on her. Her heart pounding with fear, she knew that she was running out of time. Would she be able to escape her friend's deadly grasp, or was this the end for Cecilia? Just when Cecilia was about to give up, she saw a faint light in the distance. She ran towards it with all her might, hoping it was a sign of help. As she got closer, she realized it was a small cabin, and the light was coming from inside. Cecilia knocked on the door frantically, tears streaming down her face. The door opened, and a kind-looking man stood before her. She told him everything that had happened and begged him for help. Without hesitation, the man called the police and waited with Cecilia until they arrived. Her friend was arrested, and Cecilia was taken to safety. But the experience had left her traumatized. She couldn't shake off the memory of her friend's crazed expression as she had tried to kill her. Cecilia quit social media and retreated from the public eye. Years went by, and Cecilia slowly learned to cope with what had happened. She moved to a new city, changed her name, and started a new life. But she never forgot the lesson she had learned, that sometimes, the people we think we know can turn out to be our worst nightmares. If you're a fan of spine-tingling stories like Cecilia's, then you'll love Scary Stories, the premier YouTube channel for all things horror. From bone-chilling tales of the supernatural to real-life accounts of terror, Scary Stories has it all. With millions of subscribers and a team of expert storytellers, Scary Stories is the go-to destination for anyone looking for a good scare. So why not join the community and share your own spooky stories, or just sit back and enjoy the frighteningly entertaining content. But beware, once you start watching Scary Stories, you may find yourself constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering if something is lurking in the shadows. So if you're brave enough, head over to Scary Stories and let the terror begin.